Hello and welcome to today's video. In today's video I'm going to cover two things that I think are really important. One is an exercise that you can use to help you get clear and consistent voices from your drum every single time. It's a really important part of drumming. Without the voicing of your drum, the rhythm has far less meaning. So it's really important to develop clear voices and to be able to do them consistently. This exercise is going to help you with that. The second thing I want to show today is just two foundational rhythms that we use a lot on the conga drums. Regardless of what drum you play, it's really important that you take the time and spend the energy to learn a few of the fundamental rhythms that are associated in the language of whatever drum you're playing. If you find yourself in a drum circle setting, maybe you don't get an opportunity to play these traditional rhythms as often, but they're really important to know, and they will teach you a lot about your drum, and they'll deepen your experience of playing the drum. So here we go with the first of the two things I'm going to present on today's video. So this is the exercise I like to call the Sweet 16, and the reason for that is because we're going to play each of our four fundamental voices 4 times each, adding up to 16. So I like to start with the basses and then go to the high end of the drum. So for the conga drum, our Sweet 16 will be 4 basses, 4 open tones, 4 muffles, and then 4 slaps. And it's important that you learn how to make these voices clear before you put them in the context of moving from one to the next. There's a lot of information about how to get these voices. A lot of it's trial and error, so take your time and to develop your voices. But once you get a sense of it, this is a good way to be able to continue to expand your ability to play these voices consistently, but also to move from voice to voice in succession so that you have them available to you in the moment. So here we go with the Sweet 16. Enjoy. All right, welcome to the Sweet 16. Like I said, we're going to play 4 of each of our basic voices, starting with the lowest end of our drum, which is the bass. So we have our bass position where the heel of our hand is just inside the rim of the drum, and the whole surface of the hand comes down on the drum at the same time. Then we move on to the tone, the next voice up in the register, which just across the center of your hand. Then we move on to the muffle, which I play from just above the knuckle line here to the tip of the fingers, and as you play this stroke, you keep your fingers on the surface of the drum, deadening the stroke. And last, our highest voice, then we have our slap, which I like to have fingers vertical, and then playing mainly with these fingertips. Again, it's important to develop these strokes on their own before you combine them in this Sweet 16 so that we're getting a succession. So spend your time with each voice separately and then combine them in this pattern. It'll help you to be able to move efficiently from one voicing to the next. And I'm going to do this with the metronome. Really important to use your metronome. These basic exercises are a good place to practice metronome use because you're not doing a whole bunch of fancy rhythmic things. And so you can really stay with just playing the pulse in time, and that's going to help you once you do start playing more intricate patterns on the drum. So I'm going to turn on the metronome, and here we go. 1, 2, here we go. We have bass, 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 tone, 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 muff, 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 slap, 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 slap. Once you're comfortable with that, at a slow speed, bump your metronome up a little bit and play at different tempos so that you're comfortable getting these voices regardless of the tempo you're playing. And another challenge that you can use is that instead of playing the sweet 16, you can play the hot 8. So we're making those changes twice as rapidly, only doing 2 voices on each of our 2 strokes on each of our voices before moving on. I'm going to turn my metronome tempo up a little bit and play it like that. 1, 2, here we go. We got bass, bass, tone, tone, muff, muff, slap, slap. We can go twice as fast. 4 times. Always remember that the important part of this is not the speed at which you play, but it's the consistency of the voices. So if you're at a certain tempo and things are going well and you bump your metronome up and then your voices start to suffer, slow back down. Slow it down. Get the voices consistent. The speed will come, but if you skip over getting those voices consistent as that speed comes up and your voices then flatten out and don't have any definition, then it's not really doing you a whole lot of good. So be aware of that, pay attention, and really be honest with yourself as to when you're getting clear and consistent voices and when you need to slow things back down so that you're back in that space. Practice, practice, practice.